Hi everybody, welcome to Bubble and Squeak DIY. My name is Debbie. I know I promised an Easter soap for the next one, but I'm having some difficulties with my mold that I'm trying to work out first. So I actually got this mold in the mail today, and it's beautiful soap. So we're gonna make this today, and then I'll do the Easter one afterwards. So this one we're going to learn how to paint the little pieces inside the grooves and then add our soap over top so that we have a design on the top of it. So I thought this would be perfect because the pieces inside are a little deeper for painting purposes. For my Easter egg that I was trying, I already had done some pink, yellow, and blue soap bases. So I'm going to use up what I have left to do this design. So we're going to do the flowers themselves in pink, the middles of the flowers in the yellow, and then I know vines typically are green, but I thought it'd be nice to use the blue up to do some of the painting. So I'm going to, when I heat the soap bases back up, I'm going to actually pour them into these pots, and I've got my two paintbrushes here that I'm going to paint the insides of them with, and I'll be showing you how I do that as I go. And I'm not sure what color I'm going to make the base, probably a sort of a creamy kind of color, maybe a little bit of bronze and powder color in it. I'll decide afterwards once I'm done the painting because it has to set first. The scent I'd used in the egg that I was doing is chocolate drizzle, so those already have the scent in it. So I'm going to use this scenting obviously for the pieces on the top, but then I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a strawberry smelling bottom because chocolate and strawberry go together really nicely, so you'll get the two scents sort of combined together. So I might even do part of this soap in over top of it in a nice red or pink. And then fill the rest up with the cream. I'm going to go, as we go along, I'm going to make the decisions on that. And then you can do the same thing when you're doing your soaps. You can make these decisions as you go along if you decide you want to change something up. So we're going to get started. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to melt the pink down, and we'll start with the flowers, and I'll be right back. So I'm back, and I have my pink melted here. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to actually put that into one of these cups. I'm just going to move the other ones off my silicone tray here. I got this mat the other day as well, and I think it's handy because it's easier to clean drips up off of this, and so I'm just going to go with that. I just got a little bit of pink in my mold, of course. Always do your soaps away from pouring your soaps away from your mold. That was my bad. So I'm just gonna get that little bit out. All right, so I'm gonna take my pink that I've got now in my my cup here, and I'm just gonna take it and I'm gonna dab it into the flower parts of the mold. So I'm just going to move this forward a bit so you can see what I'm doing, hopefully. The mold's a bit deep, but I'll show you as I go along what I'm doing here. So I'm just dabbing it in. And this is very liquid so that I can sort of build it up in here. And the soap will be setting very quickly, so I want to work with it fast to get these flowers done. If I pour a little bit over, it's not a big deal because I can use my, and I'm dripping here, I can use the end of a skewer or my scoop that I use to clean up the bits of soap out of the areas I shouldn't have got them into. Although perfection isn't necessary when you're doing this, I'm a bit of a perfectionist, so I'll probably go ahead and clean up these drips that I'm getting in here as we speak. But I just want to get this part done quickly because this soap sets very quickly. So I want to get them filled up. And as I said, drips are not a big deal because we can clean them up with the end of our skewer. So I'm just going to finish filling these here. And as you can see, I'm getting a bunch of it building up on the brush, so I want to knock that off before I keep going. And this is why gloves are handy, not just for contamination purposes, but because then you can pick pieces off and not get burned by the soap. Okay, so that looks like it's done, and I'm going to show it to you in a second here. Just going to take a piece of a towel and wipe off my brush. Good thing about soap is it comes off the brushes nice and easy. So this is what I've done, and as you can see, I've got a mess around it, but what I can do is I can just take the end, and I'll show you on this piece here, I can just take the ends of my skewer as it's set and just pick them out and then pull them out of the mold so that they're not in where I want to pour the other soap. So it comes out relatively easy. So I will go ahead and clean this up, and then we'll be back to do the next step. So I'm back, and I have cleaned up the flowers, so I'm going to show you what I've done. So you can see the middle of the flowers have a piece in the middle. So now I'm going to take my yellow, which I've melted down and put in my cup, and I'm going to do the middle piece of the flower in the yellow. So I'm just going to take this again and dab it in until I get it to where I want to be. And this time it's okay if I go over the pink because the pink is underneath. So if I get yellow on the pink, it's not going to show through the pink. So it's not a big deal if it's overlapping at this point, because the pink is where it needs to be at this point in time. So I'm just going to get this all in here, and then I'll show you what I'm doing. Okay, so there's not as much yellow going on because of the middles being in pink, but this is what it's going to look like in the mold. And I'm just going to let that sit for a minute, and I'm going to get the blue ready, and then we're going to go ahead and do all of these little swirls in the blue. So I'll be back in a moment. Okay, so I'm back, and I have my blue melted and poured into my cup. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to paint all of these little vine areas. And again, I'll probably end up going over a little bit, but that's okay, because I can clean up where I don't want the soap to be. As long as I get it into the divots, and it doesn't matter if it winds up over top of my pink because the pink is set. So as long as it's in those divots, everything else can be cleaned up afterwards with the end of the skewer, or in this case I'm using my scoops. And as my soap builds up on my brush, I'm just going to knock it off. I might use my thinner brush to get into some of these very tiny little spots here. Because I just want a little bit of the punch of color in this area. Again, in between, clean off your brush. And you have to do this pretty quickly because the soap does start to set in the pot. If it is setting too much, you can always reheat it in the microwave. I'm trying to do it quickly here, just knocking the skin off, because this is a tutorial, so it doesn't matter if it's perfect. And get into the leaves. So I just want to get into all of these little grooves here. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this off, and then I'll show you the what it looks like when it's all cleaned up and done. I'll be back in a moment. Okay, so I'm back, and I poured my blue into where the leaves and the vines were, and now I'm going to do a layer up to where there's the ridge in here. You can see where the heart is, and I'm going to do a layer of, this one is called red strawberry, and I'm going to put the chocolate scent in it, and then in the bottom layer I'm going to put the strawberry scenting, so that we have this wonderful chocolate strawberry combined smell. So I'm going to go ahead and melt down my soap and prepare it for putting in our scent and everything, which I'll do on camera. So I'm just going to leave this as is. I've cleaned up as much as I can. There might be a little bit that's over, but that's okay. For this purpose, we just want to make sure that it all sticks. So I'm going to go ahead now and melt down my shea butter, sorry, the 3 butter soap base, and then I'll be back and we'll start the next part. See you soon. So I forgot to say, I haven't put my gloves back on because I'm not touching any of my product. At the next stage I'll probably put them back on, but for now, because I'm not touching anything I'm using, I haven't put them back on at the moment, but as soon as I have to handle the soap I will. I had them on during the process of cleanup, and then I took them off. So now I'm going to pour in here, and I'm just going to pour in the part where there is no vines or anything. It'll go over top slowly here. I'm pouring and pouring just to get that part filled up. So I've done that now, and I'm going to give it a spray with the alcohol, and I'm going to let this set, and then we're going to pour the top layer using our cross hatching and rubbing alcohol. And I'm going to be using for the other color, my daughter had made a bear that was a really pretty kind of creamy color, and she mixed the pearl and light brown together in the shea butter. So when I do my next one, I'm going to try to mimic that color as best as I can for the rest of the soap. I think these 2 colors together will look very pretty, and we're going to do that scent in the fresh picked strawberry scent, so that we get this chocolate strawberry smell together. So we will see you when this is set. Okay, so I'm back, and this is set enough now that we can go ahead and add our last and final layer to the soap. So I'm going to just prepare my soap. I have my melt and pour 3 butter soap here, and I'm going to add in my fresh picked strawberry scenting, and this is another Candora soap scent. Pretty much everything I use is. So I'm just going to go ahead. I think my pipette may be having issues here, so I'm just going to go ahead and get what I feel is enough scenting into my soap, because I want these 2 to really smell quite strongly together. Okay. And I've gone ahead and I've used my pearl and light brown mica. I did 2 to 1, so there's 2 pearl scoops of the pearl to 1 scoop of the light brown in my bath bomb mold with some rubbing alcohol. And as you can see, I've got this really pretty light brown swirl happening in here, which will dissipate when we put it into the soap. Like, it's not going to stay that swirl. Spray out the rest into here, and I'm going to give this a stir. Oh, it's going to be a very pretty color. I can see that already. So the color is going to lighten a lot in the white 3 butter soap. So here we have what it's going to look like. It's kind of a goldy brown, kind of creamy color. It's really pretty. So, and this is what my daughter put in her teddy bear, and it was gorgeous. So I wanted to mimic this color as closely as I could. So I'm going to take my skewer and I make some hash marks quite deep because I want these layers to stick really well together. So I found with hash marking, if I'm too gentle with it, I don't get a good stick to the 2 layers of soap. So I'm making sure that when I'm doing something where it doesn't matter, because you're not going to see this, that I really do rough it up well and make some grooves for the other soap to go into, so that we get a good stick. So I've done that. I'm going to spray it with my rubbing alcohol. I'm going to check the temperature of the soap. And we're sitting at 147, so it's a little warm. Now this soap looks like it may have like a basket kind of look to it, which is really cool for Easter as well. So this is going to be kind of a Easter spring soap once it's done. And with the 2 cents, it's going to have a nice reminder of Easter, as well as having that fresh spring look on the front of it with the flowers. Kind of reminds me of Easter bonnets, Easter baskets that you used to see in the old pictures. So that's going to be really neat. I'm just going to check my temperature again because I've been stirring it. It's 142, so I'm just going to continue to stir this for a moment just to bring it down a little bit more. I want it in the high 130s, mid 130s before I pour it, because I really don't want to have this bleed into the other soap too much. Sticking in the grooves is fine, but bleeding the color out, it wouldn't look as nice. I think with the 2 distinct colors, it's going to look much nicer. 140. Getting close. So I'm also going to try to refine the Easter egg that I tried today. It was unsuccessful because I didn't put a big enough hole in the top of the Easter egg mold. It's the kind you get from the dollar store that comes in you can kind of take sections of it apart and you can put candies and things inside it. I'm sure I can use it as a mold. I just need to have a nice hole in the top to do the finishing part of it, but you'll see when I get the video going. Okay, so this is ready to pour now. I'm going to give it one more spray of alcohol on top here. And I'm going to pour very slowly. It looks like I have a little bit of extra soap. This is the first time I'm using this mold, so of course I don't know how much soap to use as of yet. I will once I'm done this project. I'll be able to sort of figure it out from there. Okay, so I need this to set now, and then when it's ready to unmold, I'll be back and we'll do the reveal. Okay, so I'm back and our soap is now set in the mold. So I'm going to go ahead and release it and we'll see what we get. So again, I pull the sides away from the soap so that when we pull it out, we're not damaging the soap at all. And we have a spectacular soap. So this is what it looks like. It is gorgeous. I am so pleased with the way this turned out. And as you can see, it's kind of got a basket look. And then we have our heart in the strawberry red. And then we have the bottom to make it look like it's sitting in a basket. So there we go. I hope you enjoyed the soap tutorial. Please like and subscribe to my channel, and we'll be doing an Easter egg hopefully next, and I'll see you soon.